It looks like now there's going to be a full-blown war between Israel and Hamas. It will take place in the Gaza Strip as Israel sends in ground forces in response to the numerous rockets, hundreds of rockets against Israeli civilian targets inside Israel itself. Why is Hamas doing this? A variety of reasons for it. But one of the things Hamas refuses to accept is the existence of the Israeli state. Other Arab states like Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states and Jordan and Morocco, the Abraham Accords, and through informal agreements, recognize Israel's now right to exist. They have a common enemy in Iran. Now, an interesting thing to see is what's going to be the reaction in the West when this conflict, unfortunately, goes on the ground in the matter of hours. You're going to see people say, oh, Israel is crushing the Palestinians, oppressing the Palestinians. They're not. They've offered numerous times the ability of the Palestinians to have true self-rule and to come to an agreement in terms of the border, not only in terms of the West Bank, but also in Jerusalem itself, having a future where both can live side by side. Gaza was returned to control of the Palestinians almost 20 years ago without any conditions. And guess what happened? It became a source of terror around the Middle East and indeed around the world. Iran has sent countless number of rockets there and armaments to hit the Israeli state. But the interesting reaction is going to be, how is the Western press going to respond? How are a lot of the Western politicians and pundits going to respond? They're going to in effect say, well, it's Israel's fault. And so you're going to see once again the rise of something that is very invidious, and that is soft anti-Semitism, where you say, oh, we're not really anti-Semitic. We're just against Israel and what it does to the Palestinians. Unfortunately, you look behind the curtain, that is code for anti-Semitism of the kind that has really scarred history in Europe and elsewhere. So that's what the thing to look out for is they're going to blame Israel, even though Hamas is the one that renewed these rocket attacks. Hamas suffered a severe defeat 7 years ago when it tried to wage war against Israel, suffered a major defeat. So why would they do it again? Two reasons. One is Iran wants them to do it to try to foment trouble in the Middle East, because Iran thinks that helps its goals of becoming the supreme power in the Middle East and controlling the oil there, but also as part of a long-term warfare trying to destroy the morale of the Jewish state. And one way they do that is try to foment anti-Israeli opinion in the West, particularly in Europe. So watch the conflict, obviously, but also look at what reactions you're going to get from sources that really should know better.